Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and today is August 10th, 2025. Still in the time of the Heliacal Rising of Sirius, the Lionsgate portal, and just want to cover some of the stories that have happened this past few days and kind of tie everything in together. And so that's what we're going to do in this live stream. So if you guys are just getting in, please hit those like buttons and give me a thumbs up in the live stream chat if you guys can hear me. Just a sound check, just to make sure everything's coming through. I think everything should be working. I don't have my mic off this time like I sometimes do. Thank you, Coffee Girl, for that. Thumbs up. Much love to you. Thank you to the Chosen One and AJ. Thank you. Hello to Juan Francis. Hello to Z. Hello to Agenda 2030. Bones Jones, Elaine. Yeah, Agenda 2030 says tomorrow is August 11th. Yeah, I'm definitely watching for probably something with a celebrity thing, a celebrity death, or maybe another shooting. Who knows what happens tomorrow? But tomorrow is the 223rd day of the year. Today is the 222nd day of the year. And we know how big that number was with the COVID. And that's what we're going to talk about here is how everything this weekend was kind of tied in with the good old COVID, and how I kind of noticed a pattern of all the events that have happened the last couple of weeks have all tied into Georgia. So we're going to talk about Georgia because everything seems to be going down in Georgia. So we will see. Joseph is in the chat. He says he's about ready to go live. So he's obviously, it's the 222nd day of the year, so he has to go live today and talk about he says Obama's in the news. So we'll see what Joseph has to share. Mine's not going to be so long. It's going to take maybe 30, 40 minutes. And we'll get through this. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff that Joseph talked about. I'm actually going to give Joseph a shout out because he did a video on this already. So make sure you guys go check out his video from yesterday on the shootings and all that other stuff that he covered. But yeah, so let's start. And thank you to everyone who's in the chat. Please hit the likes if you guys like the content. So, and don't forget to go subscribe to all the other great channels as well. Let's see. Let's get into it. So I want to talk about 3 or 4 main stories over the past couple of weeks and kind of how they all tie into Georgia. And that's kind of why I wrote here, everything is always connected. And truly it is. Everything is always connected. So we're going to step into this and basically talk about the shooting that happened in Georgia. There's 2 shootings this week in Georgia. And the death of an actress who died just a few days before that, Kelly Mack, and how she ties into this. We're even going to talk about Hulk Hogan again because Mr. HH88 Hulk Hogan is also tied into this Georgia theme. But it all goes back to the Georgia Guidestones, which are the guidelines for keeping humanity under control, essentially. And it all goes back to the COVID, right? And we know how big, and I'm not going to go over all the numbers that we know about. We know about the COVID. We know about the 222s. Joseph's talked about it many times. Many of us have. But I do want to give Joseph a shout out first because I'm just using his screenshot because I didn't pull it up, but this is his video on this stuff, and he covered a lot of the same things I'm going to cover. So I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's back on YouTube. So make sure you guys go watch his video. But he covered the gunman near the CDC and the Emory University. Okay. And apparently this guy had reportedly blamed the COVID for his illness, the vaccine at least. And So this happened on August 8th, the Lionsgate. We were watching for the Lionsgate, and this is what we get. Now, I want you guys to notice, as Joseph pointed out, the address of the university this happened at. It just happened to happen at university address 201 Dowman Street, or Dowman Drive in Atlanta, okay? And again, notice the zip code. It's 303, like 33, right? And 322. So you have the 33, the 322, and the 201, okay? And as Joseph pointed out later in the video, this all ties back to last month. We had the deaths of Ozzy Osbourne, which equals 201. And then we had the death of Hulk Hogan, who's from Georgia, not far from Atlanta, really. He's from Augusta, Georgia. And then we had his death, right? And his initials are HH. And then we have a shooting in his state on 8/8, right? So, but you guys noticed the 322 there. Well, the Georgia Guidestones, let me find them here. The Georgia Guidestones, they were erected on 3/22, 1980. So, and again, this is not far from where this shooting happened. And of course, the Guidestones have now been destroyed, but I mean, it's pretty clear that this is going to be connected to these, because this is all about the CDC. The Guidestones are about keeping the population, under control, essentially. And so you guys kind of, I think most of you guys have watched enough of this to know what I'm getting at. And supposedly the police officer who got taken out, he was 33 years old. Let me see if I can find a picture of him. The suspect is 30. And I believe that the guy who I think is David Rose. And I could talk a lot about the Rose here. Let me just try to find this here. Yeah, Officer David Rose, who was 33. On August 8th, he's the lone casualty. His last name is Rose, like the Rosicrucians, and I might talk about them a bit here. But the Rose is important, David Rose. And I forgot to run his gematria, to be honest. Let me just check something here. So notice how David Rose equals Hulk Hogan. Okay, let me just pull this up here. First of all, David Rose equals 56. We know that's the huge number with the Society of Jesus and the COVID, that 56. You guys, I'm not going to get into it all, but 56, huge number. But look at the gematria match of David Rose and Hulk Hogan. Right? So David Rose is the lone casualty on 8/8 in Georgia. And this is just a few weeks after Hulk Hogan, Mr. HH or 8/8, dies, who's from Georgia. Okay. So again, this is all tied. That's why I said everything's connected, guys. David Rose, Hulk Hogan, almost a perfect match. And Joseph says CDC HQ equals 88 in Jewish. Okay, yeah. I mean, see, we talked about this. We talked about how the HH, the 8/8 was going to be in play, and then we get this. But let's talk more about what I have here on the 8/8. So there was two things that went down on 8/8 in Georgia. Okay, one of them was a football game between the Lions and the Atlanta Falcons. Guys, how much more obvious does it need to get? On 8/8, the Lionsgate, there's a huge incident where somebody gets gravely injured in the Lions versus Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia game. Okay, this happened in Atlanta, right at the same time or the same day that the CDC shooting happened. And it was the Lions, okay? How much more obvious do they need to make it? It was literally on the Lionsgate. And look at this. In Chaldean, which I tell you the cipher is important all the time, guys. Emory University shooting, which is the shooting, equals 88. This happened on 8/8. And this game that happened in Atlanta at the same time, notice that they stopped the clock, and then the guy got taken off the field, and then they let the whole clock run out, which has never happened before. So this was a very rare occurrence. But I want you guys to notice number 88 here, who's mourning this player, right? Number 88, Kinich. Oh, really? So Ball Don't Lie says that after the wow, I didn't catch that. Let me look that up. Big shout out to Ball Don't Lie. Make sure you guys go sub to him. Let me just type in this player, Emory Jones. So there is a player on the Falcons named Emory. Are you kidding me? Emory Jones held the ball the same day that the Emory shooting happened in the same place. Okay, come on now. What's Emory Jones equal? Hold on. Oh, well, there's a 1350. Hold on. Yeah, there's something I could say about this, but I'm gonna let it go for now. But the point is, the guy's name is Emory, and he was on the same team. And let me just bring up the comment by Ball Don't Lie. QB Emory Jones held the ball, and both teams stood there in a ritual. Yeah, this is the same day that Emory University shooting. Okay, like on the Lionsgate, right? And is against the Lions. And as Joseph said, the player that caused the injury was Nathan Carter, which equals 201. And we know how big the 201 is. Remember, the address for the school was 201. So this whole thing with the football was going parallel to this shooting. I mean, it's so obvious. The guy who injures him is his name equals 201, and this happened at 201 address. And then you have a player named Emory in the game, and the university was named Emory University. So, I mean, how wild. So thank you guys for the awesome addition. And yes, news does equal 201 as well. That's a good addition. But yeah, Emory University shooting 88. This happened on 8/8. But let me what was I gonna do? Oh, let me show number 88 here. Because you guys seen this picture right here? His name is Kinich, and he's wearing the number 88, right? This is on 8/8. So let's look into this guy real fast. He's Serbian. His name is Serbian, but it's Kinich, right? And if you look up the meaning of Kinich, it's Slavic origin. And let me find it here. I was trying to find where it said this. Okay, so Kinich comes from, what is this? Hold on. Sirto Kinich is a guy who's known as the Beast. Okay, well, this isn't the same guy, guys, but there's a guy who's named Kinich who's also known as the Beast. Interesting. Beast equals 88. So that's interesting. But yeah, I'm just trying to find this. Here it is. The Kinich family, right? And again, why am I looking at this guy? Because he's the guy who's wearing the number 88. So let's look into the name origin. So if you scroll down, you see the fleur-de-lis, which I could say a lot about. But let's read what it means, guys. The family name Kinich is of Slavic origin and comes from the Balkans. It is derived from the given name Kalin, which is dogwood. Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down here already? Number 88, Kinich, is wearing 88 on 88, which is the Lionsgate. And the Lionsgate is all about the dog star Sirius. And Kinich means dogwood. Okay? I didn't even run the gematria on this, but like dogwood, his name means dogwood. And here he is wearing number 88. Hold on. Hopefully you guys can see it. I had a comment up. Thank you, Joseph, for reminding me. But yeah, his name means dogwood. He's wearing number 88. Dogwood equals murder. Interesting. A lot of word. I could say a lot about that. It was number 38 who hit the player, who injured him. Anyways, I just wanted to take a quick detour and talk about number 88 because I just thought that this guy right here had some sort of connection. And of course, his name means dogwood. And I think there was something else that I'm forgetting now, but I'll have to try to remember it. But anyways, let's keep going. So Emory University shooting, and look how obvious this is. So we're talking about the Lionsgate portal. And it was the lions, and they're in a circle making like a portal, kind of, right? I think that's what it was supposed to be symbolic of. They're over top of the Falcon, and they're making a portal. So the player who gets hurt on the Lionsgate portal, his name is Maurice Norris Jr. And notice they have to put the junior in there because when you add the junior, his name equals Lionsgate portal. Are you kidding me? Out of all things possible that it could equal, his name equals Lionsgate portal. And he was playing the Lions. He got hurt by a lion, or he was a lion. he was a Lions player, and he got hurt by number 38, like 3 8s on 8 8. Like, come on. And at the same time that this player gets hurt, who his name equals Lionsgate portal, the shooting that's happening at Emory University also equals Lionsgate portal. I mean, and we already found out that there was a player in the game named Emory. So let me know in the chat, guys. Is this a coincidence that the guy's name equals Lionsgate portal and the university equals Lionsgate portal? It'd be crazy if Lionsgate portal equaled 88 and Emory University equaled 88. That's the only, but still, I mean, considering what we already talked about and how it all connects, I think it's pretty clear. Okay. It was 86 days from the governor's birthday. Yeah, that's right. I forgot to put that in here. Yeah, it's just crazy, guys. Like 86 days after the governor's birthday, Lionsgate portal was 86, Emory University 86. Yeah, remember we had that 8.8 earthquake, which I predicted after Hulk Hogan died at 8. His initials were HH. And remember, Hulk Hogan is from Georgia. That's all goes back to that. Now, there's a huge 85 riddle here because this shooting was all about the CDC. the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. If you just type that full name out in gematria, just basic ordinal gematria, it equals 439. Well, 439 is the 85th prime number. And all this went down in Atlanta, Georgia, which equals 85. And Atlanta, Georgia is just off of I-85. Let me just pull that up because that's a huge part of this. Let's find it here. So if you type in I-85 Atlanta, you're going to see that that is running through Georgia. So you have I-85, right? And then Atlanta, Georgia equals 85. And the CDC equals 85 prime. And this all happened on the national. So this happened to the football player named Maurice Norris Jr., who equals 85 in the same cipher as National Football League, who that's when this game was taking place in. This also equals Isus Hominum Salvator, which is the Jesuit motto. But Emory University equals, so both Emory University and Maurice Norris Jr. both equal 85 in the same cipher as National Football League, like Atlanta, Georgia. And again, this shooting was outside the CDC, which equals the 85th prime. So again, this is a huge number because of the I-85 connection with Atlanta as well. So remember, let's go back to the 8-8, the Hulk Hogan, who just died of a heart attack. And you know, they've been blaming heart attacks on the you-know-whats, right? The jibby jabs. So is this just another riddle to go with the jibby jab and the heart attack? Okay, because the player that got hurt in the game, it looked like he was having a spasm, like maybe he's having a heart attack or a seizure or something. But now we got to go back to the Georgia Guidestones, because I opened this up talking about how the Georgia Guidestones are in Georgia, of course, near Atlanta, and they have the guidelines for maintaining the human population, which is what you can do. Remember how Mr. William said we can maintain the population if we do the jibby jabs well enough. Well, if you go from the Georgia Guidestones being destroyed on 7/6/2022 to the Lionsgate portal where the shooting and the Lions injury happened, it was exactly 1129 days. And 1129 is the 189th prime number. And the original name for the school that had a shooting on this day is Emory College, which equals 189. And to top it all off, this school, Emory College, is 189 years old. And again, this shooting at Emory College happened 189 prime days after the Georgia Guidestones went down. Okay. Now remember, Hulk Hogan from Georgia a few weeks ago had a heart attack. Heart attack equals 189. So to me, it's all a ritual. It's all connected back to Hulk Hogan even. Again, everything is connected. That's why I titled this thumbnail with that phrase, because truly everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks has been connected. Does full moon ritual equal 189? Interesting. Hold on, let me look that up. Okay, that's a good one. Full moon ritual, 189. And this happened right before a full moon. So that is a good addition. It equals 189 in the same cipher as heart attack and Emory College. Wow. And again, the school is 189 years old. There's your dead giveaway that the number is important, guys. This is what I mean. It's not just about the gematria. It's about when you see something like this, where you have a school which has gematria of 189, and then you see that and then you see that the school is actually 189 years old, you get confirmation. It's a confirmation that this number is obviously important. And then I just wanted to point out the obvious facts here, because this shooter was supposedly upset about what the COVID shots did to him. Well, look at the gematria of those words, 44. And we had 2 shootings this past week in Georgia, and this is because Georgia equals shooting in 2 ciphers. Georgia equals 44 and 37, like shooting equals 44, 37. But again, look at, what do we call a shooter? He shoots shots, right? Well, that's also something you can give to the V word, right? So, I mean, you get a shooter, you get shots, and it all has that 44 like Georgia. But now I want to also tie this into, so we talked about how this connects to Hulk Hogan from last week, how this connects to the Lionsgate, but there's one more thing that happened in connected to Georgia that connects all this together. So let's revisit. A few days ago on August 6th, it was the death of this actress from The Walking Dead. So this is big, guys. This is what connects. This is what brings this all together. All right. This is like icing on the cake to show that all these stories the last weeks are connected. Kelly Mack just died, supposedly of cancer. Don't forget the word kill equals 44 also. Kelly Mack was 33 years old, right, when she died. And she was relearning to walk. Her last Instagram post. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to, Joseph. This all connects back to The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead has the CDC. And where's the CDC? And where's The Walking Dead filmed? It's filmed in Atlanta. So she dies at 33, and then we get on the 8/8 date, we get an officer who gets shot and he dies at 33. So because this woman just passed away at 33, remember, as been pointed out in Gematinator's video he did on this, the last video posted of Kelly Mack was she was relearning to walk, and then she died. Well, she was in the show called The Walking Dead. So it's just joke after joke, okay? But yeah, Kelly, so she died, and let's just look. If you look up the plot to The Walking Dead, you're going to see that the CDC this is featured in the Walking Dead series. Specifically, the CDC plays a role in the first season in episode TS19. So think about this, guys. We're talking about COVID 19, and in The Walking Dead, there's the TS19, and it's near the CDC in Atlanta. So if you go to the episode TS19, it's the 6th and final episode of the first season, okay? And its original air date was December 5th. Maybe we can do a date measurement with that. But the point is that all this stuff that just happened with the CDC and Atlanta, it all connects back to the woman who just died, who starred in the show that's all about Atlanta and the CDC. And most of the and again, the officer that got killed, he was also 33. But if we go to The Walking Dead, you see here The Walking Dead features Atlanta both in the filming location and as a storyline. Downtown Atlanta is the initial encounter with the walkers, a refugee camp in Atlanta off I-85. So again, I just talked about I-85. And yeah, so I mean, the Atlanta survivor camp in the show. It's just... And don't forget, we had another shooting in Georgia, just down in the bottom of Georgia, in Fort Stewart. A shooter again at a military base. But again, if you go to the last episode that Kelly Mack appeared in, is called The Calm Before. This is where she dies in the show. The episode that she dies in is The Calm Before. Now, what does that remind you of, guys? The title of this episode. Let me see if anyone in the chat can drop it in there. What does this title of this episode remind you of? The Calm Before, right? And I think you guys are going to get it because you guys are smart. Yes, exactly. Let me pull up Joseph's comment because this is part of this. So remember, Trump said the calm before the storm statement 888 days before COVID was declared, okay? Now, on 8/8, the Lionsgate, we have all this stuff going down with The Walking Dead. Well, the woman that just died from The Walking Dead, her last episode was The Calm Before. And so let's do a quick measurement from The Calm Before, or from Trump's statement. So if we do a measurement from Trump's statement, The Calm Before the Storm, to the episode where Kelly Mack's character is killed off, The Calm Before, it's 535 days. Now, the actress who dies in this show, her character dies, but the real actress who just died, Kelly Mack, this is her in the show, of course. This was a very gruesome scene. I remember this scene. This was one of the most memorable episodes that I watched most of this whole show, guys, and this was one of the most memorable episodes because they do this border and they put everyone's heads on the spike. It was a gruesome episode. But I always remember this episode, and I didn't know that this was her last appearance as Addie. But if we do some addition from Trump's statement to her death in the show, it's 535 days. Well, Kelly Mack, who played the character, she would go on to die in real life from cancer that was called astrocytoma. And so what's the chances, guys? In gematria, astrocytoma equals 535. And again, she died of that, and her character in the show died 535 days after Trump's statement, which again, they're completely connected because Trump said calm before the storm, and the episode is called The Calm Before. Now, this woman died in Ohio, Cincinnati, and Cincinnati she died on August 2nd. Well, J.D. Vance, who's from Ohio, his birthday is August 2nd. So this woman, she died on J.D. Vance's 41st birthday in the same state that he's from. Okay, so this is connected to J.D. Vance. But I'm not gonna go into that here. But there's a huge connection to J.D. Vance, 100%. Because you can't tell me that it's on his birthday that this woman dies, and then it's in the same state. Oh, that's a good one, Joseph. Yeah, this is probably all connected to J.D. Vance. Oh, I know it's connected. But what Joseph says is Vance has a daughter named Rose. So there you go. Rose, that was the name of the officer that just died, right? And David is his middle name. So the name of the officer that died is David Rose. So we need to look more into that. If anyone finds anything, guys, you guys need to, here's your homework, right? let's I don't want to do this too much of this on live, but looking into the connection between JD Vance and all this stuff that's going down here. JD Vance is from Ohio, and he's from near Cincinnati where this woman died. And if you guys didn't catch, I kind of wanted to do a quick measurement from the episode titled TS19, December 5th, 2010. I'm just going to kind of do some measurements here to see. Oh, wow. Huh. I mean, that's interesting, guys, because I had just talked about 535. And if you measure from the episode about the CDC with the TS19, and you measure to the death of Maddie or of Mack, it was 5355 days. And if you go to the 88 date, or the day she was in the news, it was also 5359. So there might be something to that. That's a bit interesting. I just kind of wanted to see what so it's called test subject, of course. Test subject 19. Man, I'm getting another 1305 here. I'm getting a lot of 135s in the Jewish cipher. Hold on. 1305, 1350. I've been getting a lot of that. Because I was telling you guys in my last video that a lot of this stuff is connected right now to the royal family. Remember that corona means crown, and the whole thing is connected. I don't think I'm going to get into that here, but I have a whole presentation, again, connected to King Charles. Because we're talking about corona, crown. The word crown starts with CR. But this all connects back to what else happened in the last couple of weeks is Cody Rhodes, CR. He just became the champion again. And where's he from? He grew up in near Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, look. He was 189 pounds in Georgia State tournament. Wow. Okay. So again, I could keep going into all these CRs. I don't know, guys, let me know in the chat if you guys want me to do a quick rundown. Actually, I think I'm just going to wait on it because I want to do some more research. Because, again, you guys saw my last video. If you saw my last video, I talked about this. I found something super important with the CRs, okay? And for me, it's a bit, it's kind of close to my heart because that's my initials, but still, I found something super important. But I don't have all the pieces together yet. Somebody's talking about the Rand Corporation. But why is the CR so connected to this? Because yeah, that's interesting. Maybe there's something there. But remember, the Georgia Guidestones, they were erected by a guy named R.C. Christian, okay? So his initials are RCRC, RCC, right? And again, this is all going down in Georgia as well. So You got Cody Rhodes out of Georgia, CR, right? You got this guy who put the Georgia Guidestones up, RC. Well, it all goes back to the Rosicrucians, okay? And I'm not going to get into it here, but it all goes back to Christian Rosencreuz. And this is probably the reason why I got 189 in the chat again. See, it happens every stream. But yeah, this is the CR, okay? The Rose Cross or the Christian Rosencreuz. The word crown starts with CR. The word cross starts with CR. Roman Catholic, yeah, RC, right? That's a good one too. RC, Roman Catholic, Rose Cross. Christ rose from the dead, CR, like Christ risen. King Christ. In Latin, the word King Christ is Rex. King is Rex. So King Christ in Latin is also CR. But again, this actually connects, but I think I'm gonna wait on this decode for later, because this decode was mainly just about the Lionsgate and the shootings. But as you guys can see, I got a whole presentation. In fact, before I even this even happened, I was doing a presentation on the Georgia Guidestones and the connection to the RC. But remember, at the end of the month, we have something going down with the car crash, right? Which is a CC. I find it interesting. So the resurrection of Jesus Christ equals 1350. And I actually have another decode on the way for you guys about the upcoming movie called The Resurrection of the Christ. And if you take out the thes and the ofs, you get resurrection Christ, Christ's resurrection. That's RC or CR. Christ resurrection, CR. And you guys won't believe what's going down with this movie. I found some crazy stuff already, but I'm kind of waiting to put this out because I want to find more of the pieces. But this decode, be on the lookout for this decode, guys, because it's once I put all of it together, it's going to be a very interesting decode. But again, yeah, I think let me just type in Christ resurrection. Let me just see. Wow, it's got a 1566. I'm not going to get into this, but yeah, there's your CR again. That's all I'm getting at. But yeah, I'm getting ready to wrap this up too because Joseph's going live. So just stay tuned for my next decodes that are be coming in the next few days or so with the CR and the Christ, the resurrection of the Christ. Because all this is happening right now, but we also had the news of this new movie coming out in the last days. And it's all tied to some crazy stuff. So make sure you guys go, after I'm done with this stream, head on over to Joseph's stream. He's going to be covering today, the 222nd day of the year. Let me just pull that up real fast. Today is the 222nd day. So yeah, make sure you guys head on over I'm going to wrap this up in the next 2 minutes here, but head on over to his channel. Also, thanks. There's also the phrase Christ rapture. Yeah, there's a CR again. Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, wow. That's another good one. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR. Isn't he like the most famous soccer player pretty much? So yeah, you guys are adding some good ones. Cristiano Ronaldo. So yeah, that's what I mean. The CR is it's my initials, but it's also very important. Oh, and I forgot to mention the Georgia connection. You guys, Georgia, the devil went down to Georgia. So all this stuff happening in Georgia right now, the devil equals 85. And I talked about that number with a big number with Atlanta. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Head on over to Joseph's channel. And before you leave this channel, make sure you hit the like button. Georgie says Georgia-Russia war is 888. Trump Putin meeting 888 weeks after. I'll have to look into that. I'll look into that. Yeah, Charlie Daniels, devil went down to Georgia. He died on 7/6 when the Georgia Guidestones went down. Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. Charlie Daniels dead 7/6 Georgia Guidestones. Yep. JH1 says, Cody, do you know Saleh? Solea. I think no, I don't. I'll look into it. Leave a comment on the video after and let me know what that is, and I'll look into it. All right, guys. So take care. Make sure you hit those likes on the way out. And make sure you go support the other channels also. And we'll see you guys very soon with another decode. And thanks for watching. God bless. I'll see you next time.